Sarah Farnsworth and I have been friends for quite some time. During the years of our friendship, I have learned to become accustomed to some of the quirky traits that Sarah has. Just so you all know, I'll tell you some reasons why Sarah is one interesting girl. For example, Sarah's bedroom has been the same since she was 6 years old. She still has the horseshoe ribbons hanging on her walls, as well as the pink wall paint and white picket fences. She is also a closet hoarder. You can find years and years of shoes, clothes, and other hidden things in her room that her and Patty have saved up. Additionally, Sarah is always cold. When we go to the gym, she wears long spandex, a long-sleeve shirt, and a sweatshirt, and will barely sweat. As for me, I have a puddle of sweat next to me, and I have a tank top and shorts on. Another example of how Sarah is special is when freshman year, Sarah and I were listening to our favorite song, Black and Yellow. Sarah proceeds to tell me how much she loves the artist, Wiz Khalifa. I started laughing and said, Sarah, it's Wiz Khalifa. Finally, Sarah loves bubbies. Oh, whoops, I meant to say babies. She can always be found at one of her siblings' houses, spending time with her newborn nieces and nephews. Sarah, your quirky traits are what make you such a fun person to be around. You are the best friend that a girl could ask for, and I'm going to miss you so much next year. I love you so much, and good luck on your speech.
Everyone in this room, at some point or another, was a child. Now, although none of us are technically considered children anymore, that doesn't mean that there aren't a select few of us out there who still act like children. Take, for example, my older brother, Nick. He is living proof of this. He is literally a 5-year-old boy trapped in the body of a 40-year-old man. Not only does he harass UK fans on Facebook, but he also goes the extra mile to put U of L magnets on random UK fans' cars. Everyone's childhood is different, and these differences cause us all to develop special qualities and traits that make us us. For example, when I was 2 years old, I refused to wear anything but a ballerina pink tutu. This led to the creation of my nickname that my family still uses to this very day. It all started one day when I was wearing my little pink tutu, and my older brother Nick called me Little Sarah Tutu. Now, the name sounds kind of cute at first, but unfortunately for me, this name later evolved into the oh-so-pleasant sounding Toots, Toot, and Tootie. As a child, I never minded being called this nickname until I grew older. And began to actually notice the strange looks I would receive from people in public when one of my family members would call from across the store, "Hey Toots," to let me know that it was time to leave. Because I grew up with the nickname, it never really occurred to me that the name could be taken in wrong context if the backstory was not known. Now that I'm a little bit older, I constantly find myself wondering and asking, what exactly is it that makes us grow up? An occurrence such as this doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just wake up one morning and say to yourself, wow, you're an adult today, congratulations. Who here really even knows what adulthood is? I certainly don't, but I do have an idea of what I think it is. The more I've thought about this transformation, I've realized what a subconscious, gradual process growing up is. We all manage to carry with us these characteristics instilled in us as children as we grow through a series of phases, compiled of experiences and defining moments in our lives that change us. This fact then leads me to question, does anyone ever really grow up? Physically, I believe we certainly do, but as far as emotional growth, I believe we all simply change. We become more wise and mature. We become more sensitive and aware to our surroundings. And more importantly, we become more in check with how our actions have an impact on the people around us. Growing up has always been a fascinating concept to me because it was one of my greatest fears as a kid. The thought of ever losing the sense of security I felt as a child terrified me. Peter Pan was always one of my favorite Disney movies to watch as a child. He and I shared the same desire to never grow up. However, it was the tragic end that lost me every time. I never understood how Peter's companions could ever choose to grow up instead of living a life of fun forever. I clung to my childhood and tried to make it last as long as I could. I was determined to let nothing stand in my way of letting me live a carefree life and not having to worry about the same types of responsibilities and stresses my parents did. My plans seemed to be working out pretty well until reality stepped in one day. It wasn't until my 6th grade year that all my fears of losing a sense of security and gaining a massive weight of responsibility became a reality, and all within the blink of an eye. It had been like any other regular day at school. I was on my way to a typical middle school meeting in the Fraser gym, when suddenly I noticed my older brother Nick standing outside the gym. In a split second, my stomach dropped because in an instant I knew that something was wrong with my mom. 2 days earlier, my mom had gotten supposedly overheated, but I didn't buy that explanation. My brother then proceeded to tell me that our mom was in the hospital getting tests done. I knew my brother was trying to sugarcoat the situation, but it was too late. A flood of tears had already gushed up from my eyes, and all I could do was hug my brother as I cried into his shirt, trying to hold on to the only sense of security I had left. After school, my brother and I drove to the hospital to go visit our mom. Entering the hospital felt very strange. As we ascended in the elevator to my mom's floor, I could feel the butterflies in my stomach rise higher and higher with each level of the floor, feeling as if they were going to explode out of my head until suddenly the bell chimed, letting us know we were at our floor. Seeing my mom in a hospital bed had an unreal quality. She looked too young to be hooked up to so many machines. My mom, though, was happy to see me and asked if I wanted to come up next to her in her bed. I felt that if I touched her, she would break into a million pieces because she seemed so fragile. I shook my head, saying, "No, I don't want to mess up your cords." That response made her laugh. Then she said, "It's all right, you won't mess them up." Sitting beside her brought back a sense of comfort that had began to feel foreign to me. I had never been so afraid of something before in my life. 2 days later, my mom came home from the hospital, and after 3 months had fully recovered. As it turned out, that day she started feeling unwell was the day of her heart attack. My mom's heart attack was a major wake-up call in my life. It made me realize that at some point or another, everyone must take up some kind of responsibility, and with that responsibility comes growth. When my mom experienced her heart attack, I then had my very own responsibilities that needed to be taken care of. Instead of my mom always taking care of me, I had to learn to be more independent, to be better able to take care of not only myself, but also my mom when she needed me most. I thought I was going to lose my best friend that day, and words will never be able to describe just how thankful I am that I didn't have to. When my mom returned home from the hospital, my childhood did not come back with her. I no longer was that little girl who refused to wear nothing but a pink ballerina tutu. That time in my life was nothing more than just a memory. From that moment on, I knew that unexpected things in life are going to happen sometimes, and that it's okay. All you can do is be confident in knowing that you will be able to take care of yourself as well as others that may need you more when the time comes. Some people see growing up as a depressing thing. I was one of those people. But it is in fact a blessing when looked at the right way. Let's face it, the truth of reality can hurt sometimes, and you never really know what life is going to throw at you. What counts is never letting your fears stand in your way of growing from that reality when it's your turn to deal with it. Growing up isn't quite as bad as it's panned out to be, so embrace it. Enjoy the ride and you'll be just fine.